Welcome back, Tribe. I have one here from Sprout, life advice from a 94-year-old you didn't know you needed.
Let's say your 25-year-old self could give her one piece of advice. What would you say to her?
I wouldn't go back to being 25 for anybody's money. The world has changed. People have changed. If you're going to do nothing and become a vegetable of watching TV, then you're not going to live to be 90 or 100. Be honest with yourself. I think that that's the reason that you live longer.
Wow.
Have you ever wondered what advice some of the oldest and most experienced people in the world would give to someone of your age? A few weeks ago, we interviewed Yvonne in the Northwest Territories in Northern Canada. Yvonne is recognized as one of Canada's trailblazers for discovering the North. Back when she was younger, she used to fly airplanes through bushes, known as a bush pilot, to discover and communicate with some of the most northern communities close to the Arctic Circle. After sitting down with Yvonne and talking about her life experiences and life lessons, I can honestly say that what she has to offer is something all of us need to hear today. So without further ado, let's jump into it. How old are you?
94.
What does it feel like to be 94?
I don't know, because I have a hard time realizing that I am that old. What is age? To me, it isn't anything. You just live another year.
Well, you've been able to reach an age that most people don't reach, right? 94 is way above the average age. What have you done in your life that you think has gotten you to this point?
I've worked my whole damn life and I've done jobs I like, always what I like doing. I think that that's the reason that you live longer. I think that it's wrong to retire, as in everybody says now, oh, well, when I retire, what are you going to do when you retire? Are you going to just do nothing? If you're going to do nothing and become a vegetable of watching TV and reading and that's all, then you're not going to live to be long. You're not going to live to be 90 or 100.
What's a big mistake that you made or a big regret you have that you learned a valuable lesson from?
Accepting people at their word and believing in them. Sometimes you shouldn't do that. Wow. There are some days when I think, do you not learn anything quick? But then I think, oh, well, it'll work out.
Are you married?
I was 75 or 76 years ago, something like that.
Yeah. Wow.
I was 19 when I got married.
Crazy.
And I was about 24 when I got divorced. And I haven't got married again. I had one daughter, and my daughter got married and had 4 grandchildren, and they have been phenomenal. They are the best thing that ever happened to me. That's the only way to have children is grandchildren. You know, you can spoil them and give them back. And I love them. My youngest grandson is 50.
Do you believe in marriage still? Get married?
Oh, yes. I believe in marriage. And I certainly believe in grandchildren.
You're 94, so I'm assuming you were born in 1930.
That's right.
What was the world like back then?
Dude, I can imagine how different life was. To hear from older people about what you should and shouldn't do in life is such a gem. I can't believe that we have these videos that are just available to everybody.
Most people who are listening or watching have no clue. We just read.
Was great. You went to school, you walked, there were no buses, you went home for lunch.
No computers, barely anybody had TVs. She was flying planes in the bush, dude. Can you imagine that? It's like the Wild West, literally.
Kids, you came back to school, you could go anywhere in town and never have to worry about a thing. We were kids and we could go wherever we wanted and our parents didn't worry about us. Nowadays, it's dangerous. I think that the world has changed. People have changed. Some are not so good. We should have the freedom that we had before. We should be able to feel comfortable, to go downtown at night, to walk around in the evening if you wanted to go anywhere that you wanted to go. There are changes, and you have to be careful.
There's so many big events that have happened that shifted the world. What is an event that, in your opinion, really changed the outlook?
When I was young, World War II was on, and I grew up in that. I was a teenager.
Do you remember the day that Second World War ended? Is that the day that everyone knows?
Yeah. On that day, I was working in the fish stocks in Prince Rupert, British Columbia, and the whistle started blowing, and we decided we would work to the end of the day, and that was it. I remember. But I don't think that it ever registered in my mind of what really the end meant. The war doesn't affect people that are in a different country like it did us. We had ration book. You couldn't buy jam. You couldn't buy sugar. You couldn't buy butter. Couldn't buy meat. It was all on the ration book.
So that went away, obviously, at the end of the war.
Yeah.
People always say, I think the world is a scary place.
And so to contrast with the videos of the other people talking about how hard it is today, how, difficult it is, how disconnected we are. Just imagine being in your prime coming up during a world war where you have rationing butter, eggs, meat. You had to have a little scrapbook basically of when you could get this stuff, what days this was available. I mean, I heard similar stories from my parents when they were living during communist times here in Eastern Europe before the Iron Curtain fell. And so some people here on the other side of the world have it even more recent. I caught the tail end of that stuff. I was born 20 days exactly before what the people of this country rebelled, captured the dictator, and then shot him and his wife on public television. I think it's on YouTube. You can actually watch them get executed. I don't think they'll show the full thing, but they get lined up against the wall, him and his wife, and they blow them away because the people here would not believe it otherwise. He's a mean fucker, and he got what he deserved. But even the coup that happened wasn't really real. Apparently, they got tired of him, and the people that were in power afterwards were just more of the same lackeys that he had around him. Basically, he got mutinied. And so the country was an economic black hole, and ta-da, that's how we ended up in the United States. But still, to hear about the hardships that these people had, my parents had, for me personally, makes me not want to complain about a damn thing. It's really hard not to, because you only have the experiences you have in your day-to-day life. That's why when I say we live in such decadent times, because people are complaining in the West about shit like their avocado toast and, their coffee not being hot enough. It's like you have no idea what hard really is, how much worse it can really get until you, and it's not saying touch grass, but really go out there and talk to different people that have lived through different things. Like in the United States, if you really want to know what life is like outside, talk to immigrants. Talk to people that are fresh off the boat, dude. All the friends I made in school in America were all also immigrants when we were in ESOL and stuff, learning English. And they had similar crazy stories. My friends from Africa, friends from Latin America, friends from Asia, everybody had some wild ass stories. The African friends obviously had the craziest. Dudes living in villages where there were child soldiers and shit, like active war zones with like warlords all over the place. They escaped, came to the United States as refugees. Sure enough, dude, those are my friends that had gone on full scholarship rides, became dentists, became doctors, physicians, shit like that. With the craziest stories of seeing, like, I can't even describe to you on YouTube with this type of stuff that they were seeing. It was like Tears of the Sun stuff. It's insane, man. It's insane. But having a diverse group of friends like that from all over the world that can tell you what it's really like just kind of humbles you a bit and lets you understand what's actually important, what you should really focus and worry about.
Right now, I'm not really sure where to, if it's a good place. I'm not sure if things are going to get better. Seems like we're going downhill. But you've lived through World War, Vietnam War, all these different crazy conflicts, and society always comes out and advances. So what's your advice to people who are kind of worrying about that?
I wouldn't worry about it. People have been at war forever. I mean, just check history and see. There have been wars always. So there's going to still be wars always.
What is something that you think you spent too much time worrying about?
Well, I spent a lot of time worrying about the government, and then I decided that there wasn't any point in doing that because you can't do anything about it anyway.
True.
So
that applies so much to the world we have today, especially in the United States. I know everybody's still super happy about, at least if your team won, but pay attention to this because I know everybody's super invested. Who is the cabinet going to be filled with? Who do they align with? Is it going to really be America first? Right? And just watch, man, how the next 4 years go. Is there real change that's going to happen? If not, start detaching yourself from the political circus. Start worrying about yourself, your family, things that you can control in your own future. Because unfortunately, this machine is going to drain you of all your optimism and happiness because that's what it's designed to do. And it's going to entrench you and make you hate your neighbor. This is why the people that are most politically active are the ones that hate the other side the most. It's designed that way. because galvanizing people like that radicalizes them to vote for a specific team. Why do you think Team Blue is so zealot-like in their beliefs? Because they're being trained to be, so that they vote blue forever. Vote blue no matter who, right? That's a saying they have. It's crazy, man.
It just meant that you're wasting your time. About 10 years ago, I just quit watching the news.
What'd you do instead?
I voted. I always voted. I made a point. That was my one right that you don't ever want to lose. And you want to be sure that to get out and vote.
What is a truth that you've learned about life that you wish more people understood?
Women can do anything men can do, you know. We can work, we can do any job, and we should be equal. And I have always been equal.
But you,
yeah, but at first, in her day, that meant something completely different. Not the equality, fourth wave bullshit, supremacy that they're talking about today. She meant real equality, like really having a shot to work, really flying that plane at her age when they wouldn't let her just because she was a woman. She's lived through a completely different time.
must have seen a lot of progression, at least in that regard.
Yeah,
it was
but
probably
not
different
as
when you were growing
much
up.
as I think there should be. It's not been easy, but hey, it's been fun.
Yeah, I love that. If you could go back in time to, let's say, your 25-year-old self, knowing everything you know today, you could give her one piece of advice. What would you say to her?
Oh, I can't even think what it would be. I wouldn't go back to being 25 for anybody's money, or 40, or even 50. I'm happy with the way life is now, and my life has been full of experiences and stories and things that I've done and places I've been, and I like it. I don't need to go back.
So I'm 25, just for reference. Okay. So I'm almost about 70 years younger than you. If I want to get to where you are today, I want to feel the way you feel. I want to live to the age that you're at. What is your advice or recipe or strategy for that?
Keep active. Do what you like if it's at all possible. The job that you are doing, if you like it, stay at it, work, keep active, keep involved.
You've seen a lot of inventions over the years. What is, in your opinion, your least favorite invention the world has brought in?
I can't believe how little children are when they're getting phones. I think that children miss out on a lot by not going outside and playing and making up games and playing with all the kids in the neighborhood.
What about
You guys ever notice too today that most of these tablet kids that grow up, they're so full of anxiety or depression or squirrely energy, or they become addicted to the tablet and then have like temper tantrums and shit like that? You ever notice these kids? As opposed to the ones that live, I typically see this on the countryside, but it's like those families that raise their kids out there fishing, going on boats, hanging out with like horses and stuff, living that rural lifestyle, like hiking, camping, outdoors, the nature stuff, feeding the pet goats, doing stuff like that. Like they're out there just touching grass, literally, and being attached to Mother Earth. And that kind of childhood makes them like 100 times more competitive, right? They're more mentally stable. They seem happier. They're more grounded to reality, and they're just cooler people to hang out with and talk to. And those kids grow up to be amazing individuals, as opposed to the ones that grow up with the tablet. And then they get mind controlled by this thing. And then they're on social media shortly. And then the videos and the stuff that they're consuming just rots their brain. And it turns them into exactly what this thing is designed to do. Make you nervous, make you squirrely, make you anxious, make you think less of yourself, have a negative self-view. Why? Because you spend more money when you're like that. When you're controlled through your emotions, you can be manipulated physically in your behavior and your habits, which means more money for the corporations. The advertisement comes on that tells you why you need that piece of jewelry, that car, that clothing, that whatever it is that's being sold to you in that moment. Sad state, man. Sad state of adults.
I think that people put a lot of trust in the equipment that they've got. And I'm not opposed to all of the equipment. I just think they're missing out on a lot. Well, with my group, when the ladies that I go for coffee with and that, don't take your phone. Like, don't be answering your phone when we're having coffee or when we're going out, or if you're going to a meeting, don't take your phone. When you get home, look at your phone and see who called.
there's something about how we live today that you could reverse a change that the world has made, what would that one?
Nothing. You have to live with what you've got. Change is going to keep on. Oh my God, every day.
Yeah, don't hang on to the past either, the golden years. I know we talk about that on the channel, how things used to be, but her mentality is the best. Change will happen. It's inevitable, and you have to adapt. Adaptability is what you really should be praying for. Longing for the old days, they're never coming back. That's an issue conservatives have. It's like hanging on to the golden years of what used to be and how things should be. And it's just like we've progressed too far. Pandora's box is open and there's no closing it. So how do we make the best of what we have today is probably the best mentality you could possibly have going forward. It's her wisdom, man. It's great.
There's changes. I learned how to text in the last year.
Did you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm pretty good at that.
Are you using the thumbs or are you using the index fingers?
I'm using finger. I don't have to change. Like, I don't have to use that phone. I don't have to learn how to text. I've got a landline that I still use. Oh, yeah. But, I mean, I probably won't live that much longer. So I don't have to, I can accept it to a point and then still feel the way I feel.
If someone wanted to live a better life, happier life, longer life, what would be that one lesson you'd share with them?
Be honest with yourself. That's it.
Thank you.
That was from Sprout. Let's see what the comments say. Don't trust anyone. Something my mother advised me a few years ago. She has never been wrong with her advice, and I agree. Don't open up to people too much. Keep private. People have a tendency to trample all over precious things and stab you in the back. Sad but true. My grandma just turned 103. She still lives on her own. One time she told me the secret was to keep moving, take the stairs instead of elevators. If you stop moving your body, or your body will stop. Yeah, when she said my youngest grandson is 50, you don't know how magically blessed you are to say that statement. Yeah, man. This is the negative side of this going your own way, this detaching from society, the not partaking in that stuff is once you're her age, if you somehow make it to her age, she said throughout everything she's done, her grandchildren are the greatest gift she has. I don't think that statement was really heard by most people. You have no idea how important those connections are in that old age. And that's why she's probably still going. If her grandchild is 50, she's got great grandchildren potentially. That's wild. The best doctors are sunlight, rest, exercise, diet, good friends. Health is wealth. Most people are chasing the American dream and it's killing their souls. Sad. I agree with that 100%. I've always said people, experiences, and memories are all that matter in this world. Material possessions are nice, but that's superficial at best. They're only going to make you happy temporarily and then they'll collect dust like all your other trinkets. Curious to see what you guys think of this episode too. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the second channel, guys. Join us on the private community. Hop on some calls. We have them 5 times a week. We'd love to have you. Share some of your wisdom. And we'll see you on the next one. Take care.